Welcome to Research Talk. I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, I'm going to talk about data collection approach that we adopt in grounded theory. So we will talk about what kind of mindset you have when you approach data collection, how you should approach data collection in grounded theory. So let's begin. The first thing that is important to reflect and think thoroughly is how you can collect a rich data. So collecting a rich data is one of the important considerations for grounded theory. Because if your data is not rich, then you will face problems in developing your categories and subcategories. It will be hard to come up with a theory or framework from a data which is not rich. So collecting rich data is very, very important. What does rich data means? The data should be detailed. It should be detailed, full, focused. Focused meaning that the data should be focused on the research question, the purpose of your overall research problem that you are trying to resolve. So it should be focused on that. You should have a full data in terms of all the aspect of the problem, research problem that you are trying to explore, and it should be detailed. Another thing when you think about rich data is you need to make sure that you have participants' views, perceptions, feelings, and actions. So rich data also means that if you are doing an interview, you make sure that from research participant during interview, you collect a detailed data related to what they think about the phenomenon, what are their perceptions, what are their feelings, what actions they are taking in response to various aspects of the phenomenon, research problem that I'm exploring. An action piece is very important because you remember in grounded theory, our focus as a researcher is to develop a framework, develop a process related to the phenomenon that you are exploring. And process frameworks can only be developed if you have enough data, information related to the actions that people are taking. In our first few videos, when we talked about philosophy behind grounded theory, symbolic interactionism, pragmatism, these philosophy emphasize that thoughts and actions are related. They are not split, they are together. So to understand people's thought, you need to focus on actions. Actions will lead you to understand their feelings, their perception, their thought process, their cognition, and that will lead you to develop a theory. So make sure when you are developing your protocol, interview protocol, or you are trying to think about some probing question, focus on action as well. So you can ask the participant, okay, when something happened, what did you do? When this thing happened, what was your thought and what action did you take? How did you approach this problem? What steps did you take after this? What happened? So you are focusing on the actions that people are taking, and actions you will code. We will later learn about how to code data in grounded theory, but actions will lead you to understand the underlying processes, the underlying frameworks that are guiding this phenomenon or influencing the phenomenon. So it's important to make sure that you are capturing participant views, perceptions, feelings, and actions. When you are thinking about data collection or rich data collection, you should also think about seeing the lives of people, of your research participants, seeing the lives of your research participant from inside. What it means from inside. It means that whenever you are collecting data, when you are deciding how to collect rich data, you need to think about what methods will help you to see the lives of the people, lives of the research participant from inside. So when you can do observation that help you get an inside perspective. So you can do field notes that will help you do that. Interviews will obviously lead to understanding the lives of your research participant from inside. Documents will also, documents, records, or all those things, reports about the phenomenon, all these things will also lead you to understand your participant lives from inside, which will lead to a rich data. So the first consideration when you think about data collection in grounded theory is to make sure that how to collect rich data related to the research problem, related to the research question, related to the phenomenon that you are interested to explore. So always keep that in mind, because without rich data, you won't be able to develop your theories. You won't be able to develop a framework from your data. So your grounded theory that you are going to come up with, your data will not be strong enough. So always emphasize, reflect, think how to collect rich data related to your phenomenon of interest. Another thing that you should focus on and reflect is data collection in grounded theory is flexible exercise. This is another thing to keep in mind carefully. So unlike quantitative studies where you have to predefine each steps, you have to predefine what data you want to collect, you have to pre-select. So you are very structured when it comes to quantitative research and data collection in quantitative studies. When it comes to grounded theory offers flexibility in terms of data collection exercise. What it means is, let's say I started my data collection with first participant, and after the interview, I felt that yes, I can get data, rich data from interview, but it may not be enough. I need some more rich data. So you can think about what else could be a method to collect more data. And then you can say, okay, I can do participant observation. So you see, you started studies with one method of data collection, but based on your experience, you can add one more way of collecting data, maybe like participant observation. Later on, you can think about maybe I should collect some documents related to the phenomenon that I'm trying to explore. So in terms of your data collection approach, it's a flexible approach. It's a flexible based on your experience, based on what you are seeing in your data collection experience, you can change it. We will learn more about some of the other approaches in sampling when we will talk about sampling in grounded theory. But right now, just understand that data collection in grounded theory is a flexible exercise. You can change your approach to data collection based on your experience. Data collection in qualitative research is like being a detective. So as a detective, you are trying to solve this puzzle, this research puzzle. So when you think about what data collection approach you should adopt for your research study, think about being a detective. So a detective is always thinking about how to solve the puzzle. A detective can start from one aspect of the case, and then based on initial experience, they can switch their gears and focus on some other aspect. So that's what I meant to say. As a grounded theorist, you are like a detective who is starting the process, and based on some initial experience, you are flexible enough to change your strategy of data collection. Another metaphor that comes to my mind in terms of data collection approach in grounded theory is being a photographer. So as a photographer, you may have seen that they have different lenses. So to take one picture, they can set the lens, and then for the same picture, if they are not very happy, they can change the lens and do all the adjustment. So as a photographer, professional photographer, they always have multiple lenses, and they change the lenses to get a holistic picture, a complete picture of whatever they want to take. So a photographer has multiple lenses. Similarly, as a grounded theorist, you can start your data collection strategy with one lens, and maybe after taking the first interview or doing your first participant observation, you can change your approach, and you can maybe change your lens and use another lens to get or maybe a different aspect of the same picture. So the idea is, again, as a detective, as a photographer, what you are trying to do is getting a holistic picture, getting a rich data related to the phenomenon of your interest. Another question that I'm very often asked from a student is, what method is the most suitable for grounded theorist? And this question comes from because you see a lot of, when you read grounded theory, one of the methods that we very often see is interviews. And sometimes people assume that if you are doing a grounded theory, you must do interviews. Here again, let's go unpack this question of what can be a suitable method for a grounded theorist. Your approach to data collection depends on your research questions, your research problem, and the purpose of your overall study. So whenever you start thinking about what might be a suitable approach, suitable method for data collection, think about your research question. Think about the research problem that you are trying to solve. Think about overall purpose of your study. And ask yourself, what method can give me a rich data related to the phenomenon that I'm investigating? So don't think about, okay, I'm going to do interviews because everybody does interviews. I'm going to do participant observation because most of the people do that. I want to do document analysis. Don't think about these questions in that way. Think about your research question. Think about your purpose statement. Think about your research problem. And this should guide your decision to what is the most suitable method for your study. All these questions need to be guided by your research question. So let's summarize that. When you start thinking about data collection in grounded theory, the first consideration is making sure you are thinking about how to collect rich data, how to get research participant views, perceptions, feelings, actions, and how I can see the lives of my research participants from inside. So maybe observation could be a better way, maybe interviews might be a better way, maybe document, maybe a combination of either of these methods might be a useful way to collect rich data related to the research problem. And also understand that once you choose any one of these methods, they are not set in stone, they are changeable, they are flexible. So based on your initial experience, you can change your data collection strategy. You can add, subtract methods in terms of what data you want to collect to answer your research puzzle. I hope this brief conversation about your overall approach to data collection in grounded theory has helped you to understand how to begin thinking about data collection in grounded theory. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again.